What's up, everybody? It's HBT with Straight Up Wrestling Show. Guys, coming to you live, man. Coming to you live out here in traffic, 5 o'clock traffic, guys. Pretty much heading home, but I think I'm going to go and pick up something. A friend of mine want me to go and pick up a prescription for them, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit, man. Go ahead and talk to everybody a little bit about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. Tonight, join me and Christopher Burton on AEW Collision, guys. We will be doing AEW Collision live, so come and check that out, guys. We will be rocking tonight, AEW live, and I do see somebody in the building. I think Zach Minger is out there. What's up, Zach Minger? Appreciate you coming on, checking out HBT, man. As like I said, head out. I was gonna head home, but I am gonna go and I'm gonna stop by CVS and pick up a prescription for a friend of mine. And then after that, I'm going to go home. But tonight, we will be on for AEW Collision. Hopefully, have a great show. Hopefully, it's going to be a great show for AEW Collision tonight. I don't know. Last night, we did do AEW Dynamite. It was okay. That's all I can really say about it. It was okay last night, it was okay. Let's see. And we did Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was a mid show, too. It was a little bit below mid-level, I would say. I say both shows, man, we rated it 2 stars. Me and Chris, we rated Monday Night Raw 2 stars, and we rated AEW Dynamite 2 stars. The thing about AEW Dynamite, guys, let's go ahead and talk about Tony Khan. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision tonight. AEW has a chance right now to level up, guys, to bring themselves into position to pretty much be on the same, be on par with AEW, be on the same level. They definitely have a chance because AEW, from the way I see it, AEW is pretty much putting themselves in a position to where they're going to fall, man. They are going to fall. I don't see any other way out of this unless they pull back from some of the things that they've done. But right now, they can't do it because WWE, they've already signed the deals. This new ESPN deal is already signed. So you have ESPN, you have Netflix, and you have Peacock. So when it boils down to it, they are all over the place, guys. Let's just go ahead and call it a buck, man. Let's go ahead and, let's just go ahead and be straight up about it. They are all over the place. And they say that if you have regular ESPN, you're not gonna have to pay these extra fees and all that. If you have regular ESPN with DirecTV, Comcast, Charter, which is Spectrum, and some of these other things like Comcast, I guess, and a few other things, you're not gonna have to pay for all that. But they're gonna charge everybody who's coming in a little bit later, who's basically just streaming and everything like that, and they have to add ESPN Plus. They're going to go ahead and charge those people. Now, I had ESPN Plus up until about 3 weeks ago, and I canceled ESPN Plus, but luckily for me, I do have the regular service on my DirecTV. I was going to go ahead and put ESPN Plus back on there, but I doubt I'm going to do it. The reason I had it because I'm a big boxing fan, and they used to have good boxing. They started having good boxing there for a while, and I definitely wanted to get all the boxing pay-per-views or the boxing things that they had that you couldn't get. So that's the reason that I kept it. But, man, plus, like I said, I can get anything as far as football or anything like that. But since we've been doing Straight Up Wrestling Show for the last 4 years, I have to admit, I really haven't been watching football like that or really watching basketball. It's been all wrestling, man. That's what we basically been into. And one thing about the WWE, and the reason they can do what they're doing as far as going to ESPN, money gouging people, because that's what they're doing. They're money gouging the fans. The reason they can do it is because wrestling fans are very, let's just say, I'm not going to say gullible, but very loyal to the point to where the wrestling fan will spend money. I mean, they will pour out money to support the product. They will pour out money more than any other sport. Now, if you're a football fan, you may buy a football player's jersey once a year, or you might buy 2 players. If you really like 2 players on that team, you may do that, but most likely football fans do not do that. They'll buy one gear, maybe one shirt or whatever. But wrestling, we get what we used to get in Greenville. We would get 2 Raws a year and 2 SmackDowns a year. So that's 4 shows. And like for those 4 shows, we would have, somebody like Chris, my partner, People's Podcaster. Chris would go and he would buy a shirt every time. So he would buy 4 shirts a year at $50 a piece. So that's $200 on top of the ticket price that they get from him, that WWE will secure from him. And those lines will be around the building, basically, at every single show. After the show, especially after the show. During the show, they'll be lined up too. So they're getting so much money, and they get a lot of money from those concessions. WWE makes so much money from merchandising and so much from ticket sales and everything else that they do in those arenas, guys, that it is basically ridiculous. I mean, a family of 4, you basically mortgaging, man. You basically pretty much 3 months of your mortgage, you pretty much shelled out if you're taking a family to one of these WWE shows. You really are. But WWE is pretty much killing people with these ticket prices. And then they want to do what they're able to do, what they're about to do as far as on the networks. And the only reason they know they can do that is because wrestling fans, like I said, wrestling fans are gullible, they're loyal, and they know that they can get that buck out of the wrestling fans, that these wrestling fans are gonna do whatever they can to spend that money out for these wrestling shows, because wrestling, the fans get personal with the wrestlers. It's like a personal thing. It's like their favorite wrestlers become part of their family, and they have to have it. They have to have it. So WWE knows this, and TKO Holdings, and Endeavor, who I believe nobody, and I'm talking about Ari Emanuel, Mark Shapiro, these guys that work for these companies, they have no clue about wrestling. They don't care nothing about wrestling. They taking advantage. They taking advantage of the situation. And I believe they have their hands on Triple H. And not that Triple H is not trying to garner anything for himself, because Triple H, you better believe, Triple H, man, he's soaking it all up. He's soaking it all up, guys. I mean, Triple H he's trying to get as popular as he can. Triple H is putting himself in the spotlight. Either way, he can do it. Pretty much, he's like, man, if I'm not going to be a wrestler anymore, and he wasn't a number 1 wrestler when he was a wrestler, but hey, I'm not going to be a wrestler anymore. I'm still going to put myself in the spotlight. Whether it's, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to put myself out in the forefront. He wants to be wrestling. He wants to be Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon didn't put himself out like that. Vince McMahon was just that. Vince McMahon was a figure. He was a over-towering figure of pro wrestling, along with his wrestlers that he built up. What's up, Braden? My man, Braden Wrestling Opinions is in the house. What's up, Braden? Yeah, right now, Triple H, that's one thing I will say, Triple H, he's soaking it up. And, I'm not going to sit here and say I can blame him or anything like that. Hey, he's getting everything he can for the rest of his life, or whatever, the rest of his wrestling life, that while he's out here, he's soaking up everything he can and making this his moment, making a legendary moment to last for the rest of his life. So I can understand that too. But Triple H, man, he's everywhere. Right now, he is everywhere. If you talk about wrestling, man, it's Paul Levesque. Let's just say Paul Levesque. That name right there has become synonymous when it comes to the world of wrestling, guys. But, yeah, WWE, we will be doing Collision tonight, and that's because one of our guys, Raymond Underwood, will be there, and he's on like the second row, and he will be there, and he will be representing the Straight Up Wrestling Show. So we will be doing the show tonight, guys. Hopefully it's a good show. Like I said, WWE, not WWE. Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw them in there too. WWE Monday Night Raw was not that good. It was a low-level show. It was a 2-star show, and that AEW Dynamite that we just did yesterday, that was 2 stars too. But tonight we will be doing Collision. Hopefully it's good. I just now left. I had a meeting, just, hanging out as friends, me and Octavius Conway from CMW Wrestling, and we talked about a lot of things, man. We was in Harris Theater. We sat down. We talked for like 2 hours. At first, basically we was talking about some other things, basically things that we didn't really want to put on the podcast. And then we started talking about wrestling. We started talking about where wrestling is going in the future of wrestling. And we talked about a lot about the indie wrestling scene, which we should have been doing that on the podcast, but we got so deep into it, I really didn't have time to really turn on my iPad or turn on my phone and do that. But next time we definitely will do that, because we had a lot of interesting things to pretty much talk about. One thing about doing this when you're in the car, you pretty much racing with kind of like the speed of what the car is going. So you really don't have time. I really don't have time to stop and think the way I want to think. But yeah, man, as far as wrestling right now, wrestling is in a tailspin, sort of, because none of us, Raymond Underwood is in the building. What's up, Ray? None of us really know where it's going to go. All I know is it's going a direction of a monetary direction. It's all about the money right now, all about the money. And that is not a good thing, because they're gouging wrestling fans. And from what I can see and from what I know from growing up, all these years watching wrestling don't have a lot of rich fans. I mean, not saying that all wrestling fans are broke, but wrestling fans come from all walks of life, guys, to a certain point, as far as where they at on the money scale. But most wrestling fans are not making huge bucks out here. But that's not stopping TKO Holdings from grabbing every dollar they can from the wrestling fan. What's up, Judge? I see you in the house. But guys, I'm going to get to your comments in just a moment, because I'm about to stop. And I'm going to get everybody's comments, and I'm going to talk a little bit longer. But yeah, I definitely will get to these comments. But man, yeah, TKO Holdings and Endeavor, they are all about the money grab. And I can see why they're doing it with WWE, because they're losing money everywhere else. But the bottom line is, we shouldn't have to pay for their mistakes of money, losing money on all their other ventures. And that's what's happening with the wrestling fan. We are paying for that. The WWE was getting expensive anyway, but not to the point of just basically raping the fans and pretty much putting us on the island to where we have to make a decision on how we're gonna do our streaming or how we're gonna do our TV service. That's what they're doing. Wrestling should be on free TV, guys. Just like it was back in the day. It should be on free TV, and it should not be 11, 12 PLEs a year. It needs to be 3 to 4 pay-per-views a year, or PLEs a year, so they can give us time to get invested into storylines, guys. We should not have to. Z1 is in the building. What's up, my man? Good to see you, Z1. We should not have to build in our mind why certain things are happening, why there's every week, week in and week out, that everybody's getting jumped. They're getting jumped, and try to conjure up in our mind that, oh, okay, this is why this is happening. These people are getting jumped, and they're going to take care of it in 3 weeks at the next PLE. But that's where we're at now. That's what they're putting us through. They're saying, okay, let's go out here and let's just cause chaos. Let's cause havoc. That way, the wrestling fan, they can't sit there and say, hey, you're not giving us a storyline, because that storyline, every single time they have a PLE, the storyline is finished. It's supposed to be finished all the time. It's sad, guys, but that's where we at in wrestling today. But let me go ahead and get all your comments, guys. I know you see my See my hand right there, but let me go and get to all your comments. Mag Magnum's in the house says, greetings, Harry. Mag, what's up, my man? Zach Minger says, happy national, what is that? Mag, they got that money sign in front of this, so I can't see it. Happy National Creamsicle Day. Okay, creamsicle. I don't know where I can get one of those. Well, I do know where I can get one of those, but I don't think I'm going to get one. Braden says, hey, Harry, what's up, Braden? Braden, my man. Braden is in the building. Guys, let me block this camera for just a second. Let me go ahead and so I can, my hand won't be right there. Hello, Harry, Raymond says. Judge says, what's going, I think Judge says, what's going on? What the heck? Judge says, what's going on live now? Yes, sir. All right, Zach, Z1 says, facts, Harry. No doubt about that. Thank you, Z. Z says, yeah, wrestling. Let's see. Let me get back to Z1, what he said, right? Yeah, wrestling has gotten out of hand, too many events and poor storylines. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We don't even have time to pretty much sink our teeth into these storylines. That's the sad part about it. Mag says, greetings, Harry. What's going on, Mag? Mag says, PM, I think they're recording Collision tonight and we'll air it Saturday night. Okay, so, wow. So there won't be any AEW Collision tonight. Well, either way it go, guys, I'm going to run a show. We're going to have a show. When Chris come in, we're going to do a show tonight, guys. So look forward to that show. And Judge said, have you heard what Dave said that WWE is going to be countering more of AEW pay-per-views and try to make them not get a TV extension? And WWE is going to push for, what in the world is that? For TNA to be number 2. I'm not shocked at all. I'm not shocked at all on that, Judge. Because look, which I told Chris from the jump. I said this about a year and a half ago. I said, yeah, I could see this coming. I said, that's what they're going to do because they continue to lose. WWE continue to lose momentum. They continue to lose. They are continuing to lose fans. So where are they going to get their fans? Because they're definitely not reaching the general public. They're not bringing in new fans. So what they're trying to do, they are trying to grab all of AEW's fans. Because if AEW, they wipe them out, where do the AEW fans have to go? Eventually, gonna have to look for an indie show, NWA, TNA, MLW, or they're back with WWE. Most likely, they're back watching WWE, even if they only get 300,000 or 400,000 of those fans. Don't get the whole 600, 700,000 fans that's watching every week. At least they will get probably 40 to 50% of them, and then gradually they'll get more of them. They will get that fan base back if they run AEW. They know this. They know this. And all they have to do is grab a few of AEW's superstars and bring them over. They know this. They know that's the way that they have to, continue generating their profits and pretty much putting money on the bottom line for the shareholders and stockholders. They know that's the only way they can do it because they are not getting new fans. That's all it is to it. All right, Chris Gallagher says AEW is another awful indie promotion. Yeah, to a certain point, they are, Chris. I'm not going to say they're not, man. I'm not going to say they're not. And, Wednesday night, pretty much like an indie show. It was. I'm not gonna sit there and say that. One thing about Tony Khan, and I will say this about Tony Khan. Look, I'm not putting down AEW at all. My man Judge is a big AEW fan. I'm a fan of him too. Chris is a fan of him too. Because we want AEW to succeed. We want them to do great. But man, Tony. One thing about Tony has food fans. Man, he will have a great pay-per-view, and then he's back to the same old Tony, man. As far as these shows not having great storylines and all that, got great talent. The talent is super. But, man, you got to improve them TV shows. All right. And my man Chris says AEW doesn't know how to do business with other territories. Well, that's true, too. WWE, though, they really don't know how to do it either. They do know how to do it, but they want to bury other territories. Where they're doing TNA right now, they pretty much putting all their people over on TNA. I think what is that Triple Mania? That Triple Mania is coming up. I think it's this weekend. With that Triple A or something like that. They're doing that. A guy was asking me, am I going to do that? I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. But guys, hey, if you're on this podcast, guys, hey, hit me up on this AEW, not AEW, guys, on the Straight Up Wrestling Show live at 5, guys. Go ahead and hit me up with a like, share, join if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, you hit that like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, ding, 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 so you know we're on like times like these. Do the same thing if you're over on Twitch. You see us over there on X, guys, formerly known as Twitter. You hit the like, share, tweet, and retweet, and follow the Straight Up Wrestling Show. But I appreciate everybody coming in here, guys, 100%. But yeah, I thought Collision was tonight. I think it is tonight. I think it's tonight, Mag. I'm not sure. Let me go back and check. But either way it go, like I said, we will be running a show tonight. But man, wow. Hopefully we have that show tonight. If not, like I say, I'll have to wait to Saturday or whenever it comes out. Like I said, my man Ray will be at the show. And so we will see that. All right. Chris says, I'm a new listener. I appreciate you coming in, Chris. Chris says, I don't hate AEW. I just won't. Okay, wait a minute. All right, bad right there. I just want them to improve. We all do, Chris. All right. And then I had my man Mag say a few things, but hey, Chris, man, we try to keep this thing family friendly. So, but I appreciate you coming on. Definitely appreciate you coming on, and definitely come back and watch us, man. Be a part of the Straight Up Wrestling Show because we're a great family in here, and man, we would love to have you in here with us, man. And then Chris said Magnum TA was my favorite wrestler. Okay, Magnum TA. Hey guys, hey Chris, you want to hear some old school wrestling? I'm your man. Definitely come on in because I will be talking about that. I will probably upload a video tonight. Be talking about my man the Barbarian. So Barbarian is coming back to the area in Greenville, South Carolina. He'll be wrestling at APW in Spartanburg, South Carolina here soon. So I will be talking about him. I love Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. That was my favorite wrestling growing up. So I grew up in that area. But Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Florida Championship Wrestling, which that little circle right there turned into WCW. You know that. So, all right. Chris said, I am old school. All right. I am old school wrestling like Mid-South Wrestling, UWF, and World Class Championship Wrestling, the Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA in the 1980s. Like I said, Chris, I'm glad, man, you found the right place because I know all about that, man. Love the territories, nothing like it, and miss it. And I tell you what, for wrestling to be saved, we need that again. We really do. But it'll be hard. I mean, I know the NWA was going to try that, but I was like, no, that's not going to work. Only people I can really see doing that is because they got the infrastructure to do that, and that's the WWE. But the WWE have to break it up. They have to break it up to WWE East, WWE South, WWE West, WWE Midwest, and break it up into regions like 4 or 5 regions in WWE, and they can have WWE Asia, WWE Europe, or whatever. They can break it up and have a system just like the NWA had, but I doubt they would do that. But it will be very beneficial to wrestling if they would do something like that, man. It will be outstanding. And plus, if they will reach out and work with AEW and implement a system like that. But that's the only way I can really see wrestling getting back to what it used to be. Because, man, look, they can say how popular wrestling is today or whatever. It really isn't. They putting more money into the thing, and they making a lot more money because they charging astronomical prices. But wrestling is nowhere near what it used to be back when we was growing up. Back in the late 70s, in the 80s, it was 28 million to 35 million people a week watching wrestling. Now I know there's somebody might say, oh, we got all these different platforms now. You got people that watch on their phones. They doing this and they doing that. Man, I don't want to hear none of that. Hey, it's right now it's between 3.5 to 5 million people, 5.3 million people watching wrestling weekly now. That's it. So, and that's worldwide, and that's sad. But we had 28 million. No, I think that's domestically. I'll take that back. But worldwide is probably 8 million. But that's domestically. But domestically, we used to have 28 to 35 million week in and week out watching wrestling. Hey, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Memphis Wrestling used to weekly had more people watching than what Raw has right now, than what SmackDown has right now. Memphis Wrestling on the weekends used to garner up to 3 million people a week watching that program. And man, that was incredible. And Mid-Atlantic, I know, used to do like 1.7, 1.8 million a week from their program that just covered the Carolinas and Virginia. And, you know, I think they covered parts of Buffalo, New York, and Philadelphia, and went up into Chicago before they got onto the Superstation. But the Superstation, man, their small shows on Sunday used to do more than SmackDown and what Raw did. They would do 1.1 million, and that's one of the week shows, an hour show. But yeah, they would do 3 to 5 million every week on WTBS Superstation. It's the 6:05 time slot. And you know, I know we didn't have our cell phones back then. We didn't have all the things that we have now. We didn't have the PlayStations. We didn't have all the stuff that we have now to pretty much take our attention away from the sport of wrestling. But man, I know I've had shows and I've booked shows and I've been to shows where people put down their cell phones and they watch the complete show. Indie shows where everybody was just tuned in completely. So it definitely can be done. It definitely can be done. But man, yeah, if anybody's going to do it, the WWE has to do it because everything takes shape after what WWE does. Sadly, but it's true. AEW follows WWE and the indies out here. Everybody follows WWE's lead. But WWE right now, all I can really see is the WWE. Man, the WWE can ruin this whole thing, guys, for everybody. If everything continues to go soft, they can ruin it for everybody. But man, hey, hopefully that don't happen. Hopefully that don't happen, guys. But yeah, hey, I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming up in here, man, and checking this thing out. And if you came through and you're female or whatever, appreciate you too. Appreciate everybody checking me out during this afternoon drive. And like I said, before you leave out of here, hit that like, share, join. Hey, share this podcast. Let everybody know the Straight Up Wrestling Show is live and rocking. And me and Chris, we will be on later tonight. And like I said, if there's not a AEW Collision tonight, I will be on doing another show. And Christopher Burton will come on when he gets from work, or we'll set it up right after he gets off of work. But we'll come on tonight, man, and we'll have a great show. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay straight up. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We almost at evening time, but I'll see you guys, at least on the East Coast. But I'll see each and every one of you guys a little bit later. Stay straight up. Peace.